Alright, we just had a little bit of an upset here, kind of an interesting situation. Here we are, we've got home, put in below the home of Brown. We've really been thinking about this whole cemetery thing for a number of different reasons. So we came to a cemetery, we found a Brown, and then we found this If You've Been Wise and Found the Blaze. And it's this New Mexico kind of sun figure, and it's right next to a grave by the name of Brown. So it's got this cap, and we lift it up, and we found that there was nothing in there but dirt, it appears. But we're going to keep taking a look, and here's where we have to start getting a little bit concerned about the language. If you're brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. This particular cemetery is not in the wood. So we just came down from the mountain, Santa Fe National Park, and unfortunately that was like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Hold on. In the wood. In the wood doesn't necessarily mean in the woods. In fact, I think there's an old children's poem or story about being in the wood. It was like an old folklore story about some kids going out in the woods and being killed or something like that. Left out there after their parents were killed and their uncle left them out there or something. I don't know. Disney got it and adapted it to something a little bit different. But in the wood, I think it might even be a reference to that old story. We'll have to look up that story and see what the heck it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll check it out. Alright, we just finished up with lunch there. We had to recharge our batteries because we were tired and hungry and all that good stuff. Hey, June. I'm going to send June back in real quick for one last mission.
Sorry, I thought we were in a different car.
Hey, buddy. That's a washer, Paul. It's not a quarter. Oh, shit. We'll come right back with you. I'll check back in about 30 seconds. This is where it gets a little interesting. We were just at the cemetery, and we're looking for a gravesite by the name of Brown. And we're also coincidentally looking for the part in the poem that says, where's the blaze? If you've been wise and found the blaze, right? So Paul's got this whole idea that the flag, which is called a Zia, is the blaze because that's the sun. That's a Native American tribe. The Zia are the tribe, and that's the design that came up with it. So we walk up to this grave, we see a Brown, or excuse me, we see the blaze, the sun. And then little Paul points out that right next to us is a grave of Brown. And Brown was buried what year?
07.
07. So immediately we start getting excited. We're like, wait a minute. Well, this blaze, this Zia sun, happens to be built on a concrete thing, and it's part of a cap that could be lifted up, kind of like almost like the very things that encase a casket underground. So Paul and I, while no one's looking, it took us a little time to figure out and wait for it. We lift it up and have little Paul peek in there, and he says, no, it's just all dirt in there. So, okay, that's fair. And, who knows? Maybe we'll go back and check it out a little later. But not when it's too bright out because we can see. But here's what I started looking up just now. There's a fellow by the name of Dr. Harry Percival Mera. Dr. or Doc as he was known, Mera happens to be the fellow that designed the Zia flag. He is from New Mexico, particularly Santa Fe, and he's actually buried at the very cemetery that we're going to next, which happens to be Fairview Cemetery. Fairview Cemetery is south of where we just were, which is where Brown is. So one might say he's below Brown on the lines of this guy was a pilot. So there's no reason why something like that wouldn't be too feasible. Of course, we would assume that this means that he has been to Brown's site, where we just were, and saw the blaze there, and that from there we're to make the connection and do a little more history about the blaze and see where the writer is, or the creator of this is. It's a far-fetched situation. We're going to give it a shot. So we're off right now to Fairview Cemetery to see the tomb of Doc Brown. Alright guys, this is what it looks like after a day of treasure hunting when no treasure has been found. Paul's been freaking crying over there for half an hour. We seriously had to talk his ass out of his crying here because he just won't let it go that he couldn't find a treasure today. So Paul's been hugging him for about half an hour here.
You abort the whole mission to go up the mountain for 3 hours. Come on, dude.
We went up a mountain. It's in the mountain somewhere. It's the closest mountain nearby.
This is my bed.
We went up a mountain. Paul got pissed off the whole way up there because I don't even know what it was that he got pissed off about.
Well, you watch the video, you'll be able to see it. We talk about going to the cemetery, and next scene we're up the mountain.
Listen,
in the snow.
We were looking for a cemetery up the mountain. You put me on this wild goose chase. You said Millie sent an email or text about a Hyde cemetery up in the mountains at the waterfall.
Memorial.
Well, what the hell's a memorial? What are they memorializing? The trees? So we get up there. Junior's sleeping. Paul's texting people, and Big Paul's complaining about driving in the mountains.
What? I don't even have my phone, so I can't text anymore.
God.
So we're gonna give it another shot tomorrow. I think tomorrow's the big day. Actually, tomorrow's Monday, and we're trying to make it on the Today Show by Wednesday. So we figure if we can find it tomorrow, we should be in good shape. Right, June?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Can you do this up? Yeah.
What are the plans for tomorrow?
Find the big treasure.
Where are we gonna find it? Hmm?
I don't know.
You alright?
Oh,
Fine.
I bet you.
Where are we gonna find it, Paul?
Someone up in the mountains died, and they
Up at
buried
Soda
them
Pop
there.
Springs.
Soda Pop Springs? Alright.
Pop Springs.
Cool, man. Well, we're checking out. We'll check in the morning.
Night.
Good night.
Morning.
Good morning.
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 Good morning, sir. Here we are on our way out of Santa Fe, heading up north into the mountains of Taos. We're going to stop all along the way and do a little exploration and see what we can't find off the side of the road, and maybe hit up some hot springs or some cemeteries along the way. We'll see. But today should be a little more exciting because the weather's clear and some of the snow may have melted, and we'll be able to get out there and take a look in the wood a little bit easier.
What did you read in the news yesterday about warnings?
Yeah, we did read. Was watching, taking a look at the news last night, looking at the blog of one of Forrest Fenn's good buddies, and they had on there a link to a, excuse me, bless you, to a news article that said there was a gal who came up from Texas, went up into the mountains around Santa Fe here, and was lost, got turned around, lost, didn't know where the heck she was, and ended up spending the night out there all by herself. Her boyfriend, who was still in Texas, hadn't heard from her and called, and they sent out search and rescue crews and such, and they were able to find her. She was a little dehydrated, a little cold, but other than that, she was okay. And Forrest Fenn is the fellow who hit the treasure, and he's kind of urging everybody not to go out until the weather starts getting a little nicer and the snow melts. So we're gonna take that advice, but you know, we're still heading out there to explore, and hopefully it'll serve us well. So until we catch up with you here in a bit, adios. Here we are at a Vietnam Memorial Park, out in the mountains outside of Taos. There's snow around us here because we're up higher in the elevation. It's not too bad though. Here's the entrance to the Vietnam Park. We're looking for some clues here, as Mr. Forrest Fenn was a airplane pilot. He retired from the Air Force, was a pilot, flew hundreds of missions, shot down a couple of times, and he is a veteran. And so we're thinking he does have a soft spot for veterans. So we're going to come up here and see if we can't find any clues.
Alright guys, so we checked out this memorial. Beautiful, beautiful memorial. In fact, if you take a look here, it overlooks this valley that is full of snow. And we've got the flags up here. Awesome flags, awesome memorial. The building is beautiful, and the valley is just as beautiful. In fact, to come and sit and just reflect is just gorgeous. We've got another cool feature over here. There's an actual helicopter here, a Vietnam helicopter that is on display. We took a look at that thoroughly, of course, but not entirely sure that this was intended to be any part of the treasure. So we checked it out. We can say we checked it out, and in doing so we saw some beautiful stuff. So on to the next one.